Three, two, one. We are live now, sir.
Okay. Ajay, shall we begin? Harshad?
Yes, sir. We are live now.
Okay. Dear friends, it gives me immense pleasure today to welcome none other than Sh.Arvind Gupta ji with us, who needs no introduction. And beforehand, I would like to thank everyone out there in the country who has joined hands to listen what is going around Toycathon, the initiative that is creating the rounds across the country. Shri Arvind Gupta ji, he did his BTech from IIT Kanpur, and for 40 years, he has tried to make science really interesting for children using low-cost experiments and toys from trash. He shared his passion for books and toys through his popular website, arvindguptatoys.com, and he has received numerous awards and, needless to mention, the Padma Shri itself. We are really honored that this session, the beginning, the Shubharam is going to happen under the edges of our, I must say, the Ashirwad of Shri Arvind Gupta ji, the toy man, the person who is leading the efforts, and ultimately we are doing this Toycathon across the country so as to invite the ideas, the solutions, the independent innovations from across the sector, so that it not only spread awareness among school students, college students, and also among the startups and the professionals, so that a culture of indigenous toys, Atmanirbhar Bharat, so that's to ensure SME sector can boost up by some cross licensing. So these are the objectives of Toycathon, sir. And now we would like to hear you. I'll not take much of your time, sir. Thank you so much once again to come here for us, sir.
Thank you, Mohitji, for this very generous introduction. And thank you, AICTC, for organizing a seminar like that. I would begin with my own life journey. I presume that most of my listeners' audience today are engineering college teachers and students. I did my BTech. I joined IIT Kanpur in 1970, which is precisely 50 years back. Now, 1970 was a very, very radical time. There was a political ferment across the world. There were students participating in mass demonstrations in France, challenging authority. There was the anti-Vietnam movement. There was the civil rights movement. In India, we had the Naxal movement and the Jai Prakash Narayan movement. Now, whenever there is a political churning of society like this, it unleashes a lot of social energy. A lot of people start thinking, reflecting very deeply. Many had the Second World War was not very far away in 1945-47. So they said no. They had seen the carnage. They had seen the massacre in the world wars. And many scientists said, we are not going to participate in making weapons and bombs and missiles. If we can't give life, we have no right to take lives. So people, very sensitive people, clever people, were looking for alternate careers. Now, one of the persons was Dr. Anil Sadgopal. He did a PhD from Caltech and returned to India. And he started the very famous, he was at the TIFR, cutting edge institute in the country, worked with Ubaid Siddiqui, a fellow of the Royal Society. He was doing some esoteric research, not able to relate it to the lives of the ordinary people. And he started something called as a Hoshangabad Science Teaching Program. Perhaps the best effort in our country post-independence for teaching science to village children using activities. I used to work with Tata Motors. In 1975, I joined as a graduate engineer training. Tata Motors training is a dream training for an engineer. 2 years, you wear green overalls and you work on the shop floor. After that, it started becoming boring, and I spent a year in the Hoshangabad Science, 1978. And as this program was village children, there was a village bazaar, jisko haat kahenge, where people spread all their wares on the roadside, and they sell them. Small trinkets, small plastic boxes, mirror, bangles. So I said that Kanpur and Pune are very far away. The challenge lies in trying to design something which I can buy off this hut, of this street bazaar. When I was getting my bicycle inflated, I saw this thing. This is cycle valve tube, where you actually pump in air in a bicycle, use a bit of this. Now, this is available in even our very remote villages. You get a packet of this for 40 rupees, which is a 100-gram packet, which is for 50 feet of the cycle valve tube. Now, you take a small piece of the cycle valve tube and you put two matchsticks. They go inside head on and you make a flexible joint of two like this. Now, this is like acute angle, a right angle, obtuse angle, straight angle, reflex. From 0 to 360 degrees, you could depict any angle. It's like you can see a flexible coupling. You don't need to join the motor in the machine with a straight shaft. It could be an inclined shaft. If you have three of these together, loop them together, you make a very nice triangle. Because matchsticks are mass-produced in a factory, so it's a very special kind of a triangle. It's equilateral triangle. These are all 60 degrees. If you take 4 of them, you make a square, you make a pentagon, you make a hexagon, you make all these kinds of geometric shapes. And there's some very interesting properties. If you take the hexagon, for instance, just pull this out, this becomes a rectangle. This becomes a parallelogram. But this is like an amoeba, which is constantly changing its art profile. It's unstable, it's unrigid, it's very, very flexible. If you just inspect the pentagon, for instance, just pull this out, this becomes a boat shape. This becomes a house shape. This becomes an isosceles triangle. Again, very, very shaky. The square would distort. If you make a bridge with square members, what would happen? If the train would come, the bridge would start doing a dance. It would start doing a jig. It would be very, very weak. It would collapse. But then you would give a girl a triangle. And no matter what she does, a triangle remains a triangle. This is the bedrock of all civil and mechanical engineering. The triangle is the only rigid polygon, and if you wish to make any structure strong and rigid, you've got to divide this into triangles. Now, this is the first month. I was a very young 24-year engineer, and this I did in my first month in the Hoshangabad Science, and this gave me immense pleasure. I thought someday, this would be used by many, many people. You could just poke a hole in this rubber and put a third matchstick. You get a T joint. If you take the triangle and this, and you fix them together, then you make a tetrahedron. Now, tetrahedron means made of four triangles. And this is the strongest structure in nature. All bonding is essentially tetrahedral. Even if you have a cubical bonding, these are two interlocked tetrahedra. Just look at this. This is a model of methane, CH4. 4 atoms of hydrogen at the 4 apex of tetrahedron. In between is a little carbon atom. So school-going children could make very simple molecular structures. You could make a cube. You could also make a joint of 4 and a joint of 6. Now with these, all you just need is a needle or a thorn for making them. And with these, you could make all kinds of 3D structures. You could make the cube, for instance, and put a pyramid on top and could make a village house. This is like a village house. You could take a prism and put the pyramid, put a tetrahedron on top. This would look like a temple, right? And this is the icosahedron. Ico means 30, made of 30 triangles. Just making joints of 6 and using only 5. This is the icosahedron. Now, this made me very, very happy. I was 24 years old, and I thought this is so much better than making trucks. This was my calling in life. And I've never repented. It's been 40 years. I've been meandering like that. I've been to 3,000 schools, and everywhere I've shown this to children because this is low cost. If there was one technology which has reached most of our villages, it's a bicycle. You can get the cycle valve tube. So I started with this, but they just went on. I'll give you another example, which is the electric motor. Now, even in engineering colleges, as you're all the teachers in the engineering colleges and students, rare is an engineering college where a child ever makes an electric motor. Look at a middle-class home. The fan is a motor, the cooler is a motor, the AC is a motor, the washing machine, the fridge, the mixie. It's the motor which drives the pump which fills water in the overhead tank. At a dozen places, we use the motor in the house. But no child ever makes a motor, either in school or in the engineering colleges. This shows us the mutilation of education, and we need to transform it. Now look at this motor. This is a torch battery. The 1.5 volts cost 20 rupees. This is the old bicycle tube. And these are two safety pins which are snug to the plus and the minus of the battery. Now you can see this is a magnet. It need not be a ring magnet. It could be a square magnet. It could be a rectangular magnet. Ferrite, very cheap. These are 50 paisa each. And this is a coil which you make with a 1 meter of insulated copper wire, which you use for motor rewinding. There is copper inside, but it's insulated with a layer of varnish, not a plastic sleeve. So you make this coil, and if you just put this in, in less than 10 minutes, you make a great motor, a motor which you can make it work. This is one of those great models. No matter how many mistakes you make, you can always retrieve it. You can always rectify it. And imagine the gleam in the eyes of a child. If a child is able to get the motor work, all the Faraday's laws of induction, which we read in a very boring manner, without any comprehension, without any understanding, would stand starkly clear in their minds. This will hook them to theory. Both theory and practice are required, not one. If you just do practice, you remain a mystery on the roadside. And if you just do theory, you remain a professor without dirtying their hands. And you also rot. But if you put practice and theory together, you go to a higher level. Imagine the smile on a child's face, the gleam in the, they will be hooked to science for life. They would say, we want to do nothing but science. This is not a rich man's game. If you have a battery, it takes 5 rupees to make the motor. No kids. Throw them out. No kids at all. Do this with your children. In 2020 years back, I did electrical engineering from IIT Kanpur. IIT Kanpur gave me the Distinguished Alumnus Award, and the electrical department wanted to honor me. With folded hands, I said, sir, I spent 5 years in IIT Kanpur, but I discovered the beauty of the motor much later. It's never too late to discover. Don't give up. This is the good way of learning science. I will show you another very nice model, and this is a syringe from an injection. It's a 10 ml syringe. We have nothing to do with the needle, right? We just need the outside plastic barrel. What I hold in my hand, these shining, like stainless steel, these are neodymium magnets. These are rare earth magnets, so powerful. There are 2 of them, and I can't even separate them. They're so powerful, sticking to each other so solidly. But they go inside the barrel, and you can see that they can slide. They were very powerful magnets, so they've got a powerful magnetic field around them, and I put a stopper. This is the magnetic circuit. Now I take thin insulated copper wire, 36 gauge, and 1,000 turns around. It will take half an hour from start to end to make a model like that. The start and the end is scrape, and we have just attached a LED to it, light emitting diode. That's it. Now, if I shake this, the syringe, magnet is going to go left and right. It's like a moving magnetic field inside it, and which cuts the lines. This coil cuts the lines of forces. There is an EMF generator. Look at this. We are producing electricity. Yes. Even the biggest generator in the world, 1,000 megawatt generator, uses the same principle. Principles don't change. This is a miniature model within the child's fold, within the child's reach, which a child can make herself. Imagine the extent of empowerment. I come from a small town in UP where there are 8 hours power cut. If a village girl in UP or Bihar, one of the backward areas of a country, makes a generator like this, she's able to light a LED. She will say, today I light a LED, tomorrow I light up my village. This is the extent of empowerment which good education can give. Not just rote education, where you mug out and spit out. Many of our universities and colleges have become dispensers of degrees. That's it. These are mass factories churning out degrees, not thinking people, not enabled people at all. This is a very, very nice. In my city of Pune, 10,000 children have made the syringe generator. Imagine a very good future for our country with models like that. I'm going to show you some very simple toys. Now, this is made with a plastic straw. Just take a plastic straw and I just flatten one end. So it flattens and becomes slightly soft. Then with the scissors, I'm going to cut two slants. Now this becomes like a point. It's like a point, it's like a pencil point, spear point. If you see from the side, it looks like a baby crocodile's mouth which opens and closes. This is a reed, R-E-E-D, reed. A reed which vibrates. I'm going to put this reed in my mouth and blow my lungs out. Very amazing sound. You're not able to see how the sound is produced because the reed was hidden in my mouth. I'm going to keep this outside. Instead of blowing out air, I'm going to suck in air now. Look at this. This end is opening and closing at a very fast rate. It's vibrating. Vibrations produce sound. Our children don't need to mug it up. A straw, they can enjoy the sound, they can see it, and then the concept will go much deeper. This is not a rich man's game. We don't need artificial intelligence laboratory for this, right? Now, if I just make two holes over here, we are inching towards a flute. Look at this. थोड़ी बेसुरी है पर है बांसुरी, आप ये मानेंगे. One more experiment with this, the first one which we made, that this is the reed. I'm going to keep blowing at it, keep making the sound, and with the scissors, I'm going to keep cutting it, making the straw shorter and shorter. And something very nice happens. You may forget everything about this lecture, but ये आपकी रूह के साथ चिपक जाएगा. Huh? You're never going to forget this experiment. Look at this. All the 7 notes through a straw. You can enjoy them thoroughly. We saw that the longer the straw, the lower the pitch. The shorter the straw, the higher goes the pitch. And the shorter straw, very high pitched. And with this, children taught us. Often children are the only original researchers. They look at things in a very original manner. And this is what the children taught us. We make very, very funny sounds. These are primordial sounds which we all made as little children crying. So we can do that. Another one with a straw. Now look at this. This is a slightly fat straw. And what I've done is I've just made 4 V cuts. V cuts, deep V cuts. You can see them. Right? And then there's a thread hanging over here. I wove the thread through the straw. There is a knot over here. The knot, and just put a tape, a golden tape, so that the thread stays at this point. Now, if I just pull this, I pull this thread, what happens to this? It's like a robotic finger, right? And plastic has a tendency to go back to its original position, so that's the restoring couple. Very, very nice. 2-minute toys. Children don't want very elaborate things. Today you get so many of these Chinese gadgets, full of light and cacophony, full of sound. They blare and they light. I think those are not very good for our children, right? The best toys in the world is, even they may not be very glittery, are what the children make with their own hands. We have a slogan that the best thing a child can do with a toy is to break it. Why do children break toys? Because they're curious cats. They want to see what is inside it. I'm going to show you one example of that right away. You see, we make 31 different pumps. Go to my website. No one in the world makes 31 pumps. You can throw water to 20 feet away. You can make a sprinkler. You can blow up a balloon. You can do all kinds of interesting things. Here is a balloon. Here is a balloon pump. I'm going to put the balloon and then fill it up. It's a real pump. It's not a phony pump. If I keep doing like this, I'll pop the balloon. The balloon will go burst. And as I said, we have a slogan that the best thing a child can do with a toy is to break it. Why do children break toys? because they're curious cats. They want to know what is inside the tummy. इसके पेट के अंदर क्या है? तो अच्छा खिलौना वो होता है जिसको बच्चे खोल के देख सके. This toy invites them, pull me apart. देखो क्या है? साइकिल का पुराना ट्यूब है, 8 इंच का. ये फिल्म रील की डिब्बी है जिसमें एक छेद करा है और एक तरफ you can see there is a valve. एक प्लास्टिक का टेप का valve है, इधर से this is green light and when I suck it's a red light. One way. What is the valve? It's a one-way traffic. It's like a transistor, right? Now this is the other. There's a hole over here, and once again you can see that there is another valve over here, which is opening and closing. You see this open and close? This is my suction valve. This is my delivery valve. This is my suction valve, and this is my bellows. And if I put together, then I make a very, very beautiful pump. Children can pull this apart, and all their curiosity about how this pump would be satiated. That's a great toy, which you can pull apart and put back again, right? Then that halo, that mystery is gone. They know how it works in real life, right? So this is the pump. There's another very nice toy, this toy which I'd like to show you. Now this is a fat straw. You see, I have a fat straw. And what I did was I just flattened both the ends, this is about 4 inches long, and sealed them with blue tape. And then with the scissors, I just cut the top right corner and the bottom left corner. So both these corners are diametrically opposite and both have little holes. Then I just folded this in half and nipped both these corners, and I get a diamond over here. This is a diamond hole. This is my spinning straw, and this green thing is the blowing straw. You can see there is a small hole over here. Can you see this hole over here? That's the hole. Why this hole? If I shut this in and if I blow from here, air will come out at right angles from this hole. So that's the assembly now. Okay? Three minutes and you make an amazing toy. This demonstrates Newton's third law of motion. If reaction is an equal and opposite reaction, when air exits this hole, it gives it a push in the opposite direction. Exits from here, puts. So that's how it gets a torque, like this. Now, many of the other toys which I'm going to show you, they come from a book called as The Joy of Making Indian Toys. This is by a very iconic person. His name is Sudarshan Chakra, and he worked at the National Institute of Design for 40 years, inspiring his students who came from all over India that you get your traditional, go to a village mela, get your toys from Kerala. Go in the Northeast, get your toys from your village. And in 40 years, he collated the richest collection of India's folk toys. It's a salute to the genius of this country that without these mass-manufactured toys, they had a happy childhood, playing with materials, playing with toys made with materials which were locally available, right? I'm going to give you a glimpse of many of these toys. Now, this comes from the same book. It's a magic fan. Look at this, what this fan does. There's a little stick over here. There is a reel kind of thing over here. I'm going to push the stick up, and what happens? Oh, a fan appears. And put it down. 10-minute toy, no great things. It has all the excitements of a world-class toy. Another very nice toy is Sudarshan's book. It's called as a Sudarshan Chakra, right? This toy perhaps came from Kerala. Now, what is that? This is the coconut broomstick. मराठी मध्ये खराटा म्हणतात. झाड़ू की सीख, नारियल की झाड़ू की, एक लंबी और एक छोटी. And you tie this with a string so that the small stick is slightly bent down, just like the railway semaphore arm. That's it. This probably came from Kerala. And there are lots of baby coconuts which fall from the tree, and kids would put a baby coconut. Now, where I live, there are no coconut trees, so I took a piece from a rubber slipper. You can take an eraser, some weight over here. That's it. and I perch it on my index finger, and if I spin it, it's like that. So centrifugal force, centripetal force are big words for little children. एक कान से सुनते हैं, दूसरे कान से कचरा पेटी में जाते हैं. जो पढ़ाते भी हैं लोग, उनको भी इसका इल्म नहीं होता. It's only by playing with small toys like this that you get some inklings about what that force is all about, right? Very nice. The poorest child can afford it. And learning can become fun for a child like that. This is a kind of folk toy which would you find in Andhra or Karnataka. Look at it. It's like a joker, it's like an acrobat which is flagellating, dancing with his hands and legs. This is made from a palm leaf. ताल के पत्ते का बना है. कितना खूबसूरत है. एक बीच में एक बांस की छड़ी लगी है और all these hinges are just with a needle and a thread. दोनों तरफ दो गांठें हैं और डोरा है. So these hands and arms can move very easily. But you could make the same toy very easily using a card sheet. This is what we did. Now, the head and the body are doubled. There is a crevice there. You put the shoulder there, the arms there, and these are 4 hinges. You can see this. See closely. And if I spin this, well, it's a very nice dancer. If I spin it with both hands, this is like a flying man. Centrifugal force, it tends to fly things out. Children learn many concepts very intuitively through toys. In a play manner. Play, someone said, is very serious business. Our schools are so boring. The government is trying to put in many schools, they're trying to put the best effort forward, but schools are still boring. Life outside the school is so much fun for children. Children also learn a great deal without being taught. They're very clever. You don't have to repeat again and again to children. They just grasp it like this. Now, it's like a flying man. That's what centrifugal force intuitively is. You spin a thing, it tends to fly out. There are toys like this. You can see this is it's an exercising man. Look at that. How nice. Look at the back side. It's a coconut broomstick and a straw. And this is the toy. Costs no money. Would help the poorest child. You can't buy it in a mall. You can't buy it online on Amazon. But if you're clever, you can make it with your own hands in no time. Right? There are some very amazing toys. When I was a child, we would take newspapers and magazines, cut a small square, fold it. Now this is a big triangle. Fold it again, and we make a small triangle. This is like the letter V, V for van, V for victory. This also looks like the ears of an animal, of an apple. And then with no scissors, with your 2 hands, you cut a long and a rounded ears. Fold this to the front, fold this to the back. And in 15 seconds, you have a rabbit, Mr. Rabbit. Rabbit's long ears, rabbit's mouth, rabbit's front legs. This is the body. You hold the legs just below the body, grab the tail. And if you move it forwards and backwards, what does the rabbit do? It flaps his ears. It's a 30-second toy. I played this 60 years back as a child. And I think 60 years down, all these very fancy, cacophonic, all these LEDs, the earth can't afford these stupid toys. Children would still be playing with a toy like this. They're much lighter on Mother Earth. They can be recycled. The kind of junk which the toy factory of the world are producing, right? We should be careful about this. Give our children a creative childhood. It need not be these flashy toys which everyone talks about, right? Look at this. Now, similarly, if you take another square, in 3 minutes, you fold this bird. Now, this has been there. This is documented history. This is called as a flapping bird. The Japanese have made this for 300 years. It's dovetailed into their religious rites. Like comes Diwali, we do some puja, we crackers, we eat some sweets, And then the whole family sits. In Japan, they would have a festival, they would pray, they would eat rice cakes, and then the whole family will sit and fold paper. And that's how this art has kept alive for 300 years. A square, no glue, no scissors, and this has stood its ground for 300 years. No glue, no scissors, just your 10 little fingers and 2 minutes to make this amazingly dynamic model. Now, what we did many years back was to take the same bird and attach a fan in the tail. Can you see this fan? There is a refill and a pin, all pin rotating, and this is just like a little helicopter which children make. So it's a fan-tailed bird, and if I just hold it like this and I spin this, this bird goes on like this. It's aerodynamic, it's eco-friendly, it's made from recycled materials, it doesn't burn a hole in your pocket. Go collect an old refill and you can make 10 of these. You can't buy this on Amazon. I can bet you on that. Right? So this is the goodness of great toys. This is a quarter of the A4 size paper, a quarter. And we just fold this. In A4 size, you can make 4 of these. This is called as a clapper. And put a small trough. There is a small trough over here. And this kind of provides a restoring. Now, this is the clapper. This depression provides a restoring cover. Very, very nice, dynamic toy. I like the butterfly. I like the rabbit which you just saw. This once again is a 2-minute toy. It's like a flapping butterfly. It just simulates the wings of a butterfly. Right. Many, many years back, this was in my second book. You take a little strip of paper like this. You can see this. It's 1 centimeter by 12 centimeters. Make a small cut over here, another cut at the lower edge. And then you interlock both these notches. And what is the shape you get? It looks like a fish. And a fish is something which swims in water. But this is an amazing fish. It's a flying fish. If you just leave this in the air, it would just come tumbling down, enthralling you. If you throw it from the terrace to the down floor, the children below can catch it. It's a very, you can try different sizes. The long fishes, the broad fishes, small fishes, heavy fishes, light fishes, all kinds of variations, and you'll understand something about flight through these. This is similar. I played with this as a child. It's called as a helicopter. It's 1-minute toy. You see these 2 wings? If I just leave this, it will come twirling down. And then there is a challenge to children. Make a ring with your thumb and your index finger. And in this falling helicopter, you've got to catch in this ring. It's very challenging for children. You can also make some very nice. This is it's like a flapping butterfly. See this? This is a fruity straw, a thin straw. This is a fat straw. And the thin straw goes inside the fat straw. And on the top, you have a flapping butterfly. My colleague Vidula made a crane with this same kind of very, very elegant crane. Cost no money. They should part and parcel of every school, do activities. One must thank this government for starting the Atal Tinkering Labs. The physics lab, chemistry lab, maths lab, biology lab, they are all linked to the curriculum, a very boring curriculum. But the Atal Tinkering Labs, our Prime Minister gave the slogan of Make in India when he came. But very soon there was a realization that there would never be a Make in India until children in schools started dirtying their hands. Unless children in school started making small models, there would never be a Shining India. There would never be a Make in India. And that's why they introduced the Atal Tinkering Labs, where children, I think there are 5,000 Atal Tinkering Labs in government and private schools, which the government is very liberally funding. And this would unleash the creativity of lakhs of our children. Children who crack the IITs, go to some quota coaching or some other stupid coaching, but they're very bad with their hands, right? They may be able to crack these tough exams, but they can't make anything. They can't build anything. We don't have a culture of building. So these Atal tinkering labs will help a culture of making and doing. You will need a lot of experience with different materials, with paper, with wood, with steel, with plastic, with rubber, putting them together, pulling them out, dismantling, assembling. That's what engineering is all about. To get to the nitty-gritties, understand the nuts and bolts of things. Very, very nice. Such an elegant toy. Now, this is something which is designed by a mathematician. Imagine, you can see 4 pictures. What are these? Butterflies, frogs, snakes, eagles. Butterflies, frogs, snakes, eagles. This is called as a Flexagon, designed in 1928 by Arthur Stone at Harvard University. And 4 pictures which come in a sequence one after the other, and you can weave a story in them. Butterflies are insects, insects are eaten by the frogs, frogs are eaten by the snakes, snakes are eaten by the eagles. It's like a little food chain, right? It goes on. And science is full of cycles and chains and sequences. It's a very powerful model. The cycle of the seasons, the life cycle of a frog, the life cycle of a butterfly, all of them you can depict in this. And if you have an A4 size paper like this, white on one side, printed on the other, the printed side would be camouflaged. A scale and a pencil. No glue, no scissors. In 3 minutes, you can make this Flexagon. We have a 3-minute film of the Flexagon on our website. It is, of course, dubbed into 20 languages, including Polish. The Polish Academy of Sciences dubbed that film into Polish. Within a month, there were 5 lakh viewers in Poland of that particular film. Very amazing. Even the remotest village school, a piece of paper, a scale, a pencil, no grade shakes. You can do this. A world-class model. Similarly, see this. This is another one. This is made from, it's called as a 14-page unending book. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 19, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's the last page, and the book starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 19, 11, 12, 13, 14-page unending book, which is required 2 squares. This requires a bit of glue. 3 minutes again. And every child has a favorite story, which they can hear 100 times without getting bored. So every child chooses her own favorite story and makes 14 pictures out of it, sequential pictures, and they put them on. And then you will get a 14. Every child would have a rotating, dynamic, moving picture book on their pet story, on their most favorite story. A 2-minute task. You don't require much money to do this. You require passion to do this. Not many things are done by money. They require passion. One more toy that I like to show you now. This is something called it's like a levitating pencil. There are these, you have a piece of rubber. It's an old rubber slipper. And there are 4 magnets over here, you can see. And then I have a pen. The pen has got 2 magnets, total of 6 ring magnets. They're arranged in a particular pattern. The front magnets attract. So they're opposite poles. This has to be north and they'll be south. So they attract. Now the back, these magnets and this magnet, the back magnets are all similar polarities. They repel each other. एक दूसरे को धक्का देते हैं, विकर्षित करते हैं. So they push the pencil away. The front ones attract. And now you can see this pencil is just hanging in the air. I can twirl it. Right? Now there's a lot of friction between the pen point and my finger. So I take a bit of CD. This is an old CD or DVD. You can cut it with the scissors. It's as smooth as glass. And if I put this is it. It spins, it levitates, it writes. Many countries have maglev trains, which zip at 600 kilometers an hour. Right? This costs very little money, 10 rupees to make it. Our children will get a glimpse as to what high technology is in a toy format. Now, some of the great toys are something which quiz children. They inspire them to discover. Now, this is something which was done at the Vikram Sarabhai Community Science Center 50 years back. Every child was given a matchbox, same brand. So it's the same size. It's an empty matchbox. This is the drawer, this is the shell. Then they were given a challenge. You have a week's time and you have to fill one specimen, different specimens, not two of the same, different things in this matchbox for a week. And a child who's able to fill in the maximum number of things, most things, would be the winner. Now, the children were gripped by this challenge. They went home and they started looking for little things. How can we pack in more and more things into a matchbox? They could be very tiny. Then they went to the mother's kitchen. They found a mustard seed that they found a jeera cumin that went. They found a fennel soft ho gayi. One hair went. A strand of thread went. In a week, a child was able to pack in 250 things inside a matchbox. Right? For the first time, they were looking into the world of the micro and the small and the tiny. Right? And they became aware of so many things, little things which they'd never seen before. 250 things in a matchbox. Cost no money at all. A great challenge to achieve. So we make many toys using these matchboxes. And this is made from a matchbox. You can see that this is the drawer and this is the empty matchbox. We have put in two paper clips, stuck them with tape. Bit of the paper clip is popping out, just about 2 millimeters. So there is a small gap. It's like a hole. And we weave a thread in that hole. You can see this, right? That's it. Now, all the weight is on one side. If I make the thread tight and I just leave this, you can see this toy. It comes shimmering down like this. This is friction and gravity at work. At its greatest glory, you can invert this. And once again, very doable toy. A very doable toy. Another one using a matchbox. And you can see the thread. There is one thread which is being woven into it. This is like the matchbox string. You take a long needle, poke it here, and pull it out from here. At a slant, it goes at a slant. Again, poke it here and pull it out from here. And then tie a thread. I will open the matchbox and show you that both these threads are going at a slant. That's it. And how does this train work? See this. I'm just going to hold this like this. And if I start this right hand of mine, if I just shake it, the train goes on the tracks. It's moving. It's unidirectional. It doesn't come back. I've got to take it back like that. This is all because of friction. Don't just talk about friction in a very theoretical manner to children. Show them a dozen experiments with friction. Let them test it out. Let them try it out. This is the way of getting children hooked to science. Very good. Now, if you stick a picture of a rabbit on this, it will look like a rabbit going hop, hop, hop. You can put a picture of a steam engine. It is going chuck, chuck, chuck. You can do many nice things with this. One of the other toys, which Sudarshan has mentioned, has to do with a capsule. Now, this is an old medicine capsule, right? And what we're going to do is take this capsule and take a small ball bearing. You can see the steel ball, which we use in the bicycle pedal. You put this inside the capsule and you put the other thing. Now, the ball can slide inside the capsule like this, left and right, and then you make a small, this is like a channel. You can make it with paper, but by make it with paper, you'll not be able to see it. So this is the transparency. And if I keep it over here, if I tilt it a little bit, you can see. This is how it goes. It's called as a tumbling capsule. This is from Sudarshan Khanna's book, The Joy of Making Indian Toys. This book I translated into Hindi for the National Book Trust. Sundar Salone Bharatiya Khilone. You can go to my website and download this. But a very, very beautiful toy. It almost looks alive. Every house has some disused capsules lying. Just throw away the medicine, put in a bicycle ball bearing, and you have a great, great toy. Another toy is something called as a lift. Again, comes from Sudarshan's book. Now, this is a thread reel. जिस पे डोरा लपेटते हैं. This is where it's made from cardboard. It's a thread reel, and I just take about 2 feet of thread, and I've just attached two paper handles to it. That's it, on both ends. And I double the thread, and I weave it through this reel. It comes out. That's it. Now this is the doubled up thread. I'm going to hang it with my finger over here, and there you are. Look at this. I pull one of those, and the lift goes up because this paper is pulling it up. Now I take the second handle and pull it down. But mind you, the first paper handle is coming from below and is going to hijack the lift. Very intriguing toy. Why does the lift go up and down like that? Right? Very intriguing for little children. Costs very little money. I think Sudarshan's book only demonstrated that we could make learning much more interesting, creative for our children without all these very expensive gizmos, which create so much of junk, so much of pollution, electronic pollution, right? Many of our traditional toys were crafted out of throwaway material. There is a story from the life of the Buddha. Once the great Buddha was going for an inspection. Now that may sound strange, but he was going to a vihara, and there was a young monk over there. And Buddha asked, "Do you have any grievances? Do you want something?" And the young monk said, "Sir, could I have a new angarkha?" Angarkha is a woolen shawl. Buddha was the wisest man who ever trod Mother Earth. And he asked him a counter question. "You must be having an angarkha earlier. What happened to your old angarkha?" So the young monk said, "Sir, I wore it for so many years. It had become torn, so I now use it like a bed sheet, bed cover." Not to be satisfied, Buddha asked, "What happened to your old bed cover?" "Master, that was torn, so I cut it up and I made a pillow cover with that." Buddha always delved deep into phenomena, no superficial insights. He asked, "You must be having a cover on your pillow earlier. What happened to the old pillow cover?" The young monk said, "Master, I had rubbed my head 1,000,000 times on the pillow cover and there was a big hole in there. It was tattered, so I now use it like a foot mat." Last time the Buddha asked, "Tell me, what did you do with the old foot mat?" "Master, my feet had rubbed on the foot mat and all the fibers had come out. So I collected all the fibers and made a wick for a lamp and I burnt it in the lamp." And then the wise Buddha smiled. उसने कहा, बुद्ध ने कहा, "ये सुपात्र है. He deserves a new angarkha." So a thing has many, many lives. Now this is 2,500 years back. Buddha gave a message of recycling, which modern day scientists, modern day engineers need to pay heed to. We must try to do more with less. Recycle, reuse. I will show you one very nice example of this. Now, often we say that children know very little. They're new to the world, and the task of the teacher is to just give them a lot of information. A teacher is full of knowledge. He or she has so many degrees, right? But children are capable. So it's a one-way traffic. We just pour all kinds of information, bombard them with all kinds of sometimes stupid information. Children are not interested in that. Children are capable of not just consuming knowledge, but creating their own new knowledge. We worked with a municipal school when I was in Ayuka. Inside the Pune University campus, there is only one school. It's called the Vidyapeeth, and it's run by the Karve Shikshan Sanstha. We worked there for 8 years because that was the only school on the campus, 400-acre campus. We said, the whole world uses our stuff, but Chirag, Tale, Andhera. One school in our campus, and they should have access to us. And the poorest children come to that school. So we spent 8 years in that school, and this is what was designed by 7th grade children coming from the most humble backgrounds. They made this toy. I'm going to show you this toy. Now, this is a hoop from a plastic bottle. There are millions of plastic bottles that we just chuck away. We just made 2 holes, 2 opposite holes like this, and I'm putting a cycle spool. So I weave it through one hole, put a magnet there, and weave it like this. That's the toy. If I give it a small twirl, you can see, it just comes spinning like a hoop. And I can invert this again. There is no reference in literature to a toy like this. Poor children, 7th grade children, are capable of original research. We need to have trust in them, and we need to give them that latitude to do research. They took a paper cup. We drink tea, coffee in this, and we throw it away. They made a hole in the base, in the center of this, took 2 ring magnets. One they put in the front and one from inside. So the ring magnets stuck to each other. Magnets stick to each other. No glue, no adhesive. And they took a bicycle spoke once again and put it in this. And this. Designed by 7th class children of a municipal school. Right? I would not be surprised if someday we may import this toy from a neighboring country. Right? This is it. One of the most fascinating toys, experiments with toys, which I like, is this. Now this you can recognize. This is a fertilizer bag, a wheat bag or a rice bag made from woven, it's like a woven plastic sack. So we just took about 10, 12 strands, about a foot long, and we tied a knot over here, right? That's the knot. We just keep them hanging. And if I just rub them with my thumb and my finger, you can see that they become charged. And you can see this strand is attracted to my hand. And because they're similarly charged, they are repelling each other, right? What a nice experiment. All our scientists, they live in ivory towers. They must come down to the people, understand the problems of the people. I've been to 3,000 schools, and every school I go to, I would say, I'd like to see your science lab. You see, many schools would not have a science lab, but the elite ones might have. But even if you go there, you will see these burettes and pipettes, fancy glassware, plasticware. And if you have a perceptive eye, you will see a grime of dust laden. Because all this equipment is meant for the inspectors, not the children. But this is what our children need. If a village child brings one pota, one plastic bag from the home into the school, the whole school can take the experiment back to the community. They will understand a great deal about static electricity. If you want to discharge it, you put it to your body, it's discharged. Again, charge it, pull it again, and they will be charged. You can see this. What a nice experiment, right? Why is it not there in the NCERT textbooks? It should be. This is an experiment which should be there in the NCERT textbook, right? we saw the shimmering matchbox, and this is a Mela toy, a village toy. In Pune during Dashera at the Chaturshringi temple, we used to have a Mela. Unfortunately, this year because of the pandemic, there was no Mela, but you would get a toy like that, a little monkey coming down. You can just see this. It's a little woodpecker, and the woodpecker, there is a little spring here, there's a spring over here, and there's a cardboard woodpecker. If you just leave it, it comes tumbling down. Very, very fascinating toy for children. One of the toys which we did many, many years back, I'd spent 14 years in Delhi. That's the time there were no CNG buses, there were only diesel buses. And there was a great campaign to throw out the diesel buses because they were harming. The particulate matter was just getting lodged into the people's lungs. We were killing our own people with these diesel buses. And so we made 20% of the children in Delhi suffer from asthma. And we thought of this toy, which is just a straw, take about half a straw. This is 4 inches long. And with a pencil now, if you look at the pencil point, it's a conical point. And with the pencil, you make a hole over here. So it'd be a very nice rounded hole. You can't make it with the scissors because it'd be sharp edges there. And then you take ordinary sewing thread, cotton thread, and there is a knot over here. You can see there is a knot here. I'll show you the knot. This is the knot. This is the knot, right? So there is a hoop hanging here. And you give it to the child. The only thing the child can do is to blow at it, right? When children play with a toy like this, it's got 10 paisa. It strengthens their lungs. They breathe deeply. And that's what is required in an asthmatic child. So something that costs 8 months. So this has a social consequence. It's dovetailed to our social needs, a toy. They need not be just all for play. This is again Tik Tiki from Sudarshan's book, The Joy of Making Indian Toys. Now this is a crown cap. It's a Coke or a Fanta cap, right? Crown cap. And this is a button, and this is a rubber band. You can see that's a rubber band tied over here. I can pull this, you can see this. And there is a thread over here. And this thread has, at every 2 inches, it's got a knot. There are knots over here. You can see the knots more clearly now. You can see the knots more clearly. Now I'm just going to just run my thumb and my index finger, and you can hear a sound. It's called as a Tik Tiki. It makes a very gentle sound. The button strikes the crown cap, and this is called as a Tik Tiki. It's a sound toy. Another sound toy I will show you is this is, of course, any plastic bottle. This is an old pen which is press-fitted into it. You can see the top of the pen is right over here in the middle. Then you take a torn balloon and you stretch it out and put a rubber band. So this is my stretch membrane. You can see the pen is right over here touching the balloon. Hence a refill inside this. If I blow, well, the whole membrane vibrates. And this acts like a sound box, and you're able to do some loud noise. Another one of those toys is this. You can see this. This is from our old bottle, and what we've done is, this is the lid of the bottle, and there's a bicycle spoke put in here. This is the head of the spoke so that it doesn't go, and this is the lid. Put some rubber, and we take out. There's a thread over here. Now look at this. It's like a flywheel. The thread gets looped again on the reverse cycle, so this fan goes clockwise and anti-clockwise. Very nice toy. An old toy which you would find even in melas till now, Indian toy, very fascinating, is this parrot, a pecking parrot. You can see there is a weight hanging. It's a little wooden ball. And there are two threads. One is tied to the neck, the other is tied to the tail. And if I just rotate it like this, you can see this. It's very difficult to buy a toy like that because the market is flooded with cheap factory-made toys. This is handcrafted by some artist. Very, very nice toy. There are variations of this toy across the world. Another one which I played as a child, I can't find that now. This was made out of thin sticks. And you would get a snake out of this. I could not find this, so I just made them with straws. You can see these straws, and I put a pin over here, a paper pin, and bend it on the other side so it doesn't hurt anyone. This is the bent side. I'll just, with a nose plier, bend the pin. And this becomes it's like a striking snake. Look at this. Look at this. There are many, many principles involved in this, but a very nice toy. The straws work very beautifully for this. We used to get a lot of toys, something like you can say a windmill. Now, this is a kind of a windmill. You can see there are 4 legs over here. This is a toothpick. And the middle part is just perched on this. So this windmill can rotate very freely. You can see there is a straw over here. When I will blow through the straw, it will strike one of these 4 pillars of the windmill. And the windmill will go round and round. Very simple. Now, one of the great challenging toys is these are, I've got a 5-inch long nail. And this nail is it's embedded in a piece of rubber. It's standing. I've got a dozen nails in my other hand. Now, the challenge is, how do I balance a dozen nails on the head of this vertical nail? There are no glue, there are no tricks, right? It's not a sleight of hand. How do you do it? It's a great challenge. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to take these, and one I'm going to put like this, straight like this. The other one would be cross. The head to the left, the head to the right. Left, right, left, right. I place many so that they're equal numbers on both sides. Then I take the last nail, put in the first nail, and I can lift this whole assembly like this. See this? This is the assembly. 3 here, 3 there, and 2 which I'm holding, the bottom and the top one. The other 6 are just encased. Their heads are bound. And now I gently lower this and perch it on top of the vertical nail. I can lift this whole thing up now. Once again, just fell off. I'm going to show you again. There you are. There you are. This is this, and I'm going to just perch it on top of this and lift up and show you. The perching, you can even give it a small pull. Very beautiful balancing toy. Now, these nails are available in each village. People make their houses, they make their little huts, they need a door, they need long nails for that. So there'll be a small town you can buy them from. These are sold by weight. There's nothing which will go bad on this. Very nice and a challenging toy for children. Now I'm going to show you some things which do with the Tetra Pak and See, this is a Tetra Pak, a 200 ml Tetra Pak. A Tetra Pak is terrible from the point of view of the environment. If you've ever opened up a Tetra Pak, you will find it's silver inside. So there is a layer of aluminum and the 3 layers of plastic and paper, and they're fused together. So you may have fun drinking from a Tetra Pak, a fruity packet, a jumping jack packet, a lassi, a Amul lassi, and you throw it out. But this Tetra Pak packet would be lying in a landfill for 500 years. Nature is totally, aluminum does not even rust. Plastic takes centuries to decay. So the major polluters, these are, right? So what we did, if you look at this is a lassi packet made by Amul. How much, if you measure the length, the width, and the height, it's 200, it's written 200 ml of lassi. Very nice measure for 200 ml. If I take this, I cut this into half, this is 100 ml. I cut this into a quarter, it's a 50 ml. So I make various cylinders or various boxes for measuring volume. This is 100 ml. Now, if I take a glass of water, I fill this. How much water inside this? 100 ml. How much water have I drunk? 100 ml. Then I can flatten my cup and keep it in my pocket. Children can pick this up from the roadside. They can carry the laboratory in their own pocket. The whole day they would be measuring how much water have we drunk. And if they're more adventurous, they can even find out how much water they have exited or peed. Get a very nice feel for volume in due course, right? You saw the icosahedron, which I had made with this, the matchstick. You can make an icosahedron with a Tetra Pak. Just make a network. You just need a divider, make a network of 30 triangles, score them. Aluminum takes very sharp pieces. You can make all these platonic solids using the Tetra Pak. The Tetra Pak is a terrible material. It chokes our sievers. A few years back, the Bombay International Airport, the rains, there were no flights for a week because all the sievers were choked with debris, including a hell of a lot of Tetra Paks, right? So we need to recycle this for a creative end. This is a very nice purse that you can make. You can see this purse. This is 1 liter fruit juice box made of Tetra Pak. It's very easy to make. And there are 2 pockets over here. You can put some money. There's a 10 rupee note over here. You can put some coins over here. And there is a flap. You could put Velcro. Very nice waterproof purse because the 3 layers of plastic, aluminum. You can keep this very safely in your pocket, right? How to make this? This is a small model. This is a 200 ml fruity box. Now you chop off this flap completely and push them inside. Double this up, right? And you can see the 2 middle walls, you can staple these 2 middle walls, staple, and you get 2 pockets like that, right? And this is a flap over here. So very nice, children can make this purse very easy. We've made some 60 toys just using the Tetra Pak. There's a book called Little Toys, which you can download from my website, which I did for the National Book Trust some 25 years back, which says that pick up a Tetra Pak from the roadside and I'll show you how to make 30 toys with that, right? Don't bring from the Tetra Pak because it's terrible for the environment. Okay, this is a puzzle. Now, it's called as an inside-outside cube. You can see this. I made a cube, which is silver all over, right? Now I can flatten this and give it 2 twists and turns, and it becomes a green cube, colored all over, right? Once again, I can manipulate it and get the silver out. So this Tetra Pak is ideal for puzzles like this because you can do lots of things, manipulations with this. You can bend it 1,000 times and it doesn't tear. And it's something which is lying and littering our roads, right? But this is the network for this puzzle, right? You make this and do like this. That's a puzzle. Well, I'm going to show you. These are the puzzles which we made 30 years back. But there was a competition that you design teaching aids for the visually impaired, for blind children. I always thought that the Hawaii slipper, these flip-flops, are very workable material, ideal for making teaching aids, especially these inset puzzles. See, they're white on one side, they're black on the other side. If you have a symmetric shape, you can just, now the white rectangle stands out. A blind child can just see this, feel the outline and make it out that this one is a triangle and this one is a round circle, right? Later on, we made 40 puzzles for blind children, just using the Hawaii slipper. We need not be overawed by the West. We must use our own heads, look into our own backyard, and do something very nice for our children. Often 200s of British rule has left behind a colonized mind, which is the most difficult thing to get rid of. We don't think. Unless it comes from the West, it's not good. Now, every school, many blind schools use this kind of puzzle now, right? There are no sharp edges. It would not, even ordinary balwadis, primary schools, kindergartens can use this puzzle because the Montessori puzzles are so prohibitively expensive. Our schools can't afford them, but this they certainly can, right? This is another one. And this is right, it's called as a touching slate. It's meant for the visually impaired, the blind children. You'd be surprised that there are 125 lakh blind children, 1.25 crore blind children in our country. The largest, 13 million blind, the largest number of blind anywhere in the world, right? Who live in a world of darkness. Now, this was designed by a couple 20 years back. It's called as a touching slate. Now you can see this pen. This is a drawing pen. What is a drawing pen? It's a film box, a piece of rubber, black rubber, and I push a pen inside. The task of the rubber is to attach the pen to the bottle. Now this is a crank made from a bicycle spoke. You can see the crank, right? It's just bent into a Z shape. There's a piece of rubber which you have gouged out. You can wrap wool. This is my pulley. So that's it. So if I crank the handle, all the wool gets wrapped up. Can you see the wool? This is getting wrapped up. All the wool gets wrapped up. And wool is a lot of fibers. And this is my drawing slate. The drawing slate has Velcro. We know Velcro has got two strips, one with hooks, the other with loops. These are only the hooks. The loops we discard. So the millions of hooks over here, and a blind child can just draw. And then the fingers are so perceptive, so sensitive, that they can feel. For the first time, blind children can actually draw. Today, this is being used by every blind school in the country. And this is what it is. It brings a ray of hope into the lives of those who live in darkness. Well, in the end, I'm going to show you tell you a story in the end, but before that, we use a lot of newspapers for making caps. Now, this is half a newspaper, and you make a cricket cap. This is Sachin Tendulkar's cricket cap. After he retired, he gave it to me. As you can see, it would fit into a child's head very beautifully, and they look very cool. And when children are folding a newspaper, one is that they are folding all the angles and polygons which they've learned in the abstract. They're concretizing them, right? And in the end, if they make a beautiful cap like this, then no child wants to be left behind. There's a peer pressure. The whole class wants a cap. So this is half a newspaper. The nicest thing about this cap is that, well, when you're not using it, you can fold it and I can keep it in my pocket. I often carry it with me when I'm going in the sun, I put it on. And the other is, of course, the very famous Nehru cap or the Gandhi cap, which once again is in Maharashtra, rural Maharashtra, children going to school wear a cap like this with great pride. This is the small cap. In the end, I'm going to tell you one small story and end now. This is called as a captain's hat story. And this is told with a newspaper, a double-dip newspaper. The story goes like this. There was a captain of a sea-going ship. Now, passenger ship, there were lots of passengers in the ship. And once the ship starts, it takes several weeks, several months before it lands on another port. Now, the first few days, the passengers enjoy the journey very much. They've traveled by air, they've traveled by road, they've traveled by rail. First time, a journey in the water. So they're very excited about it. But after a couple of days, all they see is a wide blue ocean, not a patch of land, not a tree. They become bored, they become seasick. Topi Shankar was a very clever captain. He saw that the passengers were becoming bored, so he invited them on the deck. And he said, you sing and dance. Entertain yourself, enjoy whatever days you have on my ship, and I'll provide you with good food and drinks. So this Captain Topi Shankar had a suitcase with different kinds of caps. And every day he would wear the same cap, he would wear a different and join the party. This is a huge umbrella cap. If the captain is standing on the deck, it protects him from the scorching sun, it protects him from the rain. At night, when the passengers would be sleeping, Topi Shankar would give it another fold, and the second day, he would be wearing a new cap. Now, this is a fire brigade cap. They wear a designer cap because there is a chute at the back. The chute. एक नीचे पीछे एक चोंच होती है कि अगर ऊपर से कोई मलबा गिरे, if some debris falls from the top, it must protect the spinal cord. That's why they wear it. Second is a fireman's cap. Second night, he would give it one more fold, and the third day, Topi Shankar would be wearing this is an explorer's cap, adventurer's cap, a shikari cap, you can call it. Right? Third night, he would give it two more folds. And this is a very, very special cap from Maharashtra. You've seen all these Bollywood films, right? If you see a policeman in any of our Bollywood films, he always wears a cap like this. In Maharashtra, this is called as a Pandu cap. It's been catapulted to international glory because our films, we make the largest number of films in the world and they're liked all over the place. So this is the Pandu cap. Four caps. First is a huge umbrella cap. Second is the fireman's cap. Third is a shikari cap. And fourth is this policeman's cap. And we must not forget that Topi Shankar, after all, was a captain of a ship. This was a ship. And well, all the passengers were enjoying the journey very much. But suddenly there is a storm. Kali badli chha jati. It rains cats and dogs. There's lightning. There is thunder. Huge waves. And what can a poor ship do? It rocks and pitches in the storm. And then a huge wave comes and slaps the front part of the ship and the passengers are terrified that our ship is broken into two. Another huge wave comes and slaps the aft of the ship. And now the ship is broken to pieces and the ship is sinking. And then a third huge wave comes and slaps the bridge. The triangular portion is called as a bridge. And knocks it down. Now the ship has been broken to smithereens, pieces. And Topi Shankar's ship sinks. And he has lost his suitcase with all the caps. All that remains is a life jacket. With that, I would end this lecture. I once again very humbly thank you for joining me. And go to my website, Arvind Gupta Toys. All these are documented in small 2-minute videos. All my books are for free downloads. Thank you very much once again, IICTC, for inviting.
Wow, my. The journey of Toby Shankar from the Sunken Ship to what not. Arvindji, I believe just like me, you have made day for many, many, many students, not only students, professionals, startups, the audiences who must have heard you. They must have been thrilled. What a journey. It is really enlightening, and I just recall even my younger daughter. She does the very same things, all kind of boxes and everything. I have to actually hunt for her in my house. That where is she hiding and doing what? So and to the audience, you must have looked into how simple things, how small things, which we believe we are throwing, or which we think of no value actually, what kind of immense value they carry. Your Hawaii chappal, to the busted balloon, to the straw, to the papers, what not. This must have, given you the insight, the idea, the thought process we are looking for, and what Arvindji has channelized. He has enticed those spark, I believe, in everybody who has seen today's lecture, today's thought, and that is the objective. As he rightly pointed out, a lot of toys are being imported. We need to come up with something indigenous. We need to come up with things which are important for ourselves. Think into that direction, come up, and that will really help in increasing the quotient of our kids around us, our community. Really looking forward to it. And I would like to wholeheartedly thank Arvindji for sparing his time, giving us the insights and telling us from trash what we can do, what we can make. Thank and mail us as well. We would be glad to show your queries to us. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for today's session.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Then.